winner in the outdoor challenge, the person that attends the most Facebook Lives, will receive a free webinar on is leash walking a drag. It's a loose leash walking webinar. Many people have paid to attend this event and they've come out with really awesome results. So keep coming back on Wednesday. The person who attends the most Facebook Lives will receive this leash walking webinar. And again, that's from November to January 1st. I would love to invite you to the outdoor challenge and definitely take your dog out during the holiday season. So my first question in regards to jumping, what do you do when your dog jumps on people? I would love to know what your normal reaction is when your dog jumps on somebody. Oh, great. So I have somebody on here. And it says they have a comment, but I'm not seeing the comment. So I apologize about that. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on this end. But I would love for you to respond right now. What do you do when your dog jumps on people? Go ahead and comment below with your name and let me know what you do. Because again, the more you comment, the more I can help you. So a lot of people tend to do things that may be more on the pain side when a dog jumps on somebody. And pain can cause aggression or fear. Any fearful or aggressive dog can choose to fight back or bite. So if you're using methods to get your dog to stop biting that instill fear or pain or anger within your dog, can actually cause more problems later. So I would love to ask you right now, what are some painful methods that you can use to stop your dog from jumping? So they may work with stopping the dog from jumping, but they're causing pain on your dog or towards your dog. And I need to hit the comment button. All right, well, I'm still not seeing the one comment that I do have. So I apologize about that, but keep commenting because that allows me to help you best. What are some painful methods that you can use to stop your dog from jumping? And we're going to talk about some right now. And these are the things that you definitely want to avoid using. So kneeing your dog. That one's a really common one. I hear a lot of people that say, you know, they put up their knee. Remember, that's going to go in your dog's chest. It could cause pain for your dog. Pushing your dog off, especially if you do it significantly, or pushing your dog off, especially if you do it in a way that's really hard and abrupt or painful. Hitting your dog, yelling at your dog, using a spray bottle, jerking on the leash, alpha rolling, that is taking your dog and rolling them on to his or her side, and shock collars. All of those things are going to cause pain in your dog. They could get your dog to stop jumping, but again, if you're causing pain, you could develop a dog that then develops severe aggression issues towards other people. So we want to avoid using these methods. Some dogs may actually like those above methods, and they may even perceive those above methods as play. So then there's other dogs that are like, oh, you need me. That actually was fun. I think you're playing with me. Or, oh, you pushed me off. See, that was so much fun. You're playing with me. I'm going to jump more. So if your dog is perceiving what you're doing as play, that can also cause your dog to jump on you more as well. So I wanted to ask you, have you done any of these methods? And if you have, comment below. There's no shame at all. I would love to hear if you have. And go ahead and comment as I keep talking, because I really do want to hear from you. So let's be positive and help your dog learn what to do instead. A lot of those painful methods, we're forcing the dog to do what we want them to do. Can we actually teach them in a way that's positive to help them learn that we don't want the jumping to happen. We would prefer you to do something good. So the simplest thing to do is to reward the good behavior. So that's sitting, having 4 feet on the ground, or laying down. And the different ways you can reward the good behavior is through treats, praise, petting, and play. And for the outdoor challenge, we're going to start with jumping outside first. So if your dog is jumping on people when you're on leash walks, for instance, you want to, or even off the leash, you want to start with your dog on the leash first. So like with Siki, when he was really jumpy, if I hiked with him off the leash, he would just go and jump on someone. He still had a really good recall, but I knew he was just going to be able to run away from me and jump on someone and then practice that bad habit. I didn't want to instill that bad habit in him more. So he was on the leash with me until he learned to not jump when he saw people when we were hiking or walking. So you definitely want to make sure you keep your dog on the leash. And then when people walk by, you want to use a command called target, which is getting your dog to touch their muzzle to your hand. And you're going to see some videos on that today. And then to ask them to sit, stay. So you target them away from the person and then get your dog to sit, stay as the person walks by. If people come up to your dog, teach them to only pet your dog if your dog sits, and to walk away if your dog jumps on them. So if you have your dog on the leash, if the person is walking away and you're standing there and not moving towards that person, the dog realizes the jumping causes the removal of the person. And if they choose to sit and the person pets them, then they realize the sitting is what's getting rewarded. And you can also add a click and treat in there as well. And we're also going to watch a video on that today. But I would like to know who has trained their dog to target. So anyone that is watching this video now or in the future, let me know if you've done target training. For myself and my daughter, it's a very, very common command, and it's one that I don't think a lot of people know about. And I will tell you, most of my clients, when they learn it, they use it a lot, and they use it very, very often. And my daughter's so funny because she knows we can use it to move dogs around, and she loves getting dogs to target. Every time we see a new dog that is one of my friend's dogs and is super friendly, she wants to ask them to target. It's adorable. So I'm going to show you a video on how to train target. And we're going to move to 104 on here. So first of all, I'm at a shelter, so that's why the dog's on the leash. When you're training this initially, if you're in the house, you do not need to have your dog on the leash. I think I got it in the right spot. If not, we'll move it. So really good thing to pay attention to here. The dog is not targeting the hand. Why do you think that is? And if you, are watching the replay or on the call now, comment below. Why do you think the dog isn't targeting? And wonder about that a little bit. I would love to see if anyone can, think about it and get in the dog's brain on why that might be. And the reason why this dog isn't targeting is because he doesn't know what target means. He doesn't know anything about the command target yet. This is the first time he's learning it. So when you guys train this, you may get a dog that avoids it in the beginning, which is why I say that in the video. And I do have, oh, you know what? I think I might not have the sound on. Let me just double check. Yeah, I don't. So let's make sure we get the sound on there, and I have to have like 2 windows open when I do it on Zoom. So I apologize. I went to the wrong window at first there. Okay. So now you'll be able to hear. with volume on it. And I'm going to have a treat in between my thumb and my pointer finger. Oop. Expand it after I hit play, I think. Yeah, there we go. Then we'll go to 104. And if you can't hear the video, let me know.
Hi, I'm Joanna with Four Legged Scholars, and I'm here at the Portage County. You put a treat in your hand, and then you're going to put it.
So I have a treat in between my thumb and my pointer finger, and I'm holding it about muzzle height. Okay. And you're going to notice that I click and treat when the dog touches the hand. But again, he doesn't touch the hand right away. Why was that? Because he doesn't know what target is yet.
Put it in front of your dog, and your dog may avoid it initially. And then as soon as they touch it, you're gonna click and treat.
So for those of you who aren't aware, clicker training, the click marks the behavior that we want. So we're getting the dog to touch the hand. So when the muzzle touches the hand, I'm clicking. You're going to see me do it again. The dog is going to avoid it again because, again, you have to train things multiple times in order for it to become a learned response.
We got some crumbs down there, so.
And we also have a distraction that's going to happen. But notice how I lean towards the dog to try to make myself more prominent and help him understand that I want him to touch the hand.
And then once your dog's readily.
And then again, I clicked and treated when he touched the hand. So now I'm going to add the command target before he touches the hand. So once I know the dog is going to touch the hand pretty regularly or it's predictable, then I'll add that target command.
Touching your hand, then you would just start adding the command target. Target. Target.
So now you can see the dog is starting to understand what it means at this moment in time in this particular environment. And you can train it this easily as well. All right, let's see if anybody has any comments. So right, we got quietness on the live. So again, if you watch this on the replay, make sure you comment so I can help you best. So this next video is someone that's actually doing target on the leash. So this person is actually using target to prevent his dog from moving towards some other dogs that he's seeing on the leash walk. So it's not people that this dog wants to jump on, but it could be. So if your dog wants to jump on somebody, you could use target to get them to move past that person. You could also do a target to get them to move away and then do a sit stay. But in this one, I just want you to pay attention to how the owner does some targeting to prevent this dog from pulling on the leash towards the other dogs in the distance. So there's some dogs over here. He's doing a target. So again, you can imagine that there's people back here.
Maggie, touch. Yes.
And if there was people back here, right, he's targeting away from those people, not towards them. Okay, so I'm moving the dog away so he can't jump on those people.
Maggie, touch. Yes. Touch.
Okay, so he moved away. Now he's going to go towards the distraction again for practice. And you're going to see that he's going to do targeting again. And as he's moving towards the dogs, he did some targeting to help the Maggie to pay attention to doing targeting versus the dogs. So there you saw her break away a little bit. Think about the dogs. And then he does a target. There's the dog in the distance right there. And moving them away. So again, you can imagine that's a person that your dog wants to jump on and you're targeting that dog away or your dog away from that person.
Maggie, touch. Yes. Maggie, touch. Yes.
Yeah, and notice he's using the command touch instead of target. Doesn't matter what command you use. You can use whatever you want. He's also using a closed fist instead of an open hand. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So there, Maggie was looking off in the distance and getting distracted. And he got his dog back by saying, you know, Maggie's name. He could have also did target there as well. Okay. So that's a fun video. And then, so on this one, this is going to be targeting your dog away from that person and then getting your dog to sit safe. So you're going to need to use your imagination. This is me, again, training a dog in the shelter. So notice how I target the dog and then I do a sit stay. Okay. So I'm going to get it in the right spot here.
Release your dog when you want him up. Target. Sit.
So let's have you watch that again. Close this one. So if you imagine that somebody is right here, or even quite a few feet away, they could be 10, 20 feet away, and they're walking kind of parallel to myself, then I'm going to target this dog in the opposite direction away from the person and then do a sit stay.
Up, target, sit, stay, stay, stay. Oh.
And I could hypothetically be standing near the dog the whole entire time and not going back and forth. Now the person's gone, so I will release the dog.
Now, once you want to take it on the road on your walks, they're actually going to stay better if you are in between your dog and the person that or other dog that's passing you. Ready?
So, again, I'm saying if the person is walking over here, it's going to work better if you're standing in between that person and your dog. The other option you could do is I could stand by the cabinets back there and have my back towards the person that was passing and my dog's face towards me. Okay, either one of those will work really well. So here I'm going to be in between the person and my dog.
Sit. So notice that my back is towards the camera right now and Rhodey's on the other side. So you can imagine that behind me is the bicyclist that's going past, or the other,
or a person, anything that your dog wants to jump on.
Person or dog, and then I am in between my dog and whatever is passing me over here and getting my dog to stay. Now you might have to do a high treat frequency if the distraction is really high, and give your dog a lot of reminders to stay. Stay. Okay. Once your dog.
So there you go. So now you can see that dog stayed really well. I didn't move in and out. I stood there and rewarded that I released the dog, and then I would just continue on my walk. So my next question for you is, who has trained their dog to sit stay? Has anybody done that? I would love to hear if you have. Oh, great. I can finally see the comments. I'm not sure why I couldn't before. Okay, so hi, Dad. It's my dad on here. I love it. And actually, I'm going to be showing a video here shortly that you took of me in a dog training class quite a few years back in Salt Lake City. So my dad says, do you provide food every time you target? That's a great question. And also, what kind of food do you use for rewards? These are awesome questions. Okay. So when you're initially training something new, you want to use a continual reward frequency. So every time the dog would touch my hand, I would click and treat. So I would literally do it like every single time. And then once the behavior becomes learned, so once the behavior is happening at, they say about a 70 to 80% rate, then we can say, okay, sometimes we're going to reward the dog for touching the hand and sometimes not. And that buys the dog into wanting to do the behavior more when they know, when they don't know when they're going to get rewarded. So just like when you play the lottery, like you don't know you're going to win. Those people that are hooked into to playing the lottery. That isn't really a lot of people in my family, but if it is in yours, there's nothing wrong with you guys. You're basically hooked in because sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. Or even you think that you're going to win. Am I going to win this time? Am I going to win this time? Am I going to win this time? So it pulls you in. So once the dog knows how to target really well, and then you go on that random reward frequency. So they touch it, you don't reward them. They touch it, you don't reward them. They touch it and you do. They touch it and you do. They touch it and you don't. They do it 10 times of targets and you don't reward, 2 times and then you do. Then the dog is like, oh, I wonder when I'm going to get the treat, and that buys them in. Then they're like, oh yeah, I really want to keep trying because I'm wondering when I'm going to get rewarded. And then as far as what types of treats you want to use, that really depends on the dog because every dog is going to be motivated by different treats. I personally love the dog food rolls. I think Red Barn makes them now. I've also seen them by Pet Botanics and Natural Balance, but I think some of those companies have discontinued them. They come in a huge dog food roll, and you find it in the dog food section, not in the training section. And it's really nice because since it's dog food, it's cheap. You got to spend a lot of money on it, and then you chop them up, and you chop them up into like, pea size. And then you put them in the fridge because they will go bad because they're fresh. And then you take them out when you're ready to use them. And, you can have them out for a few hours. It'll be just fine. The nice thing with those is they're really potent in smell. So most dogs I found are really, really, really motivated by them. I also like Zooks, but I'm going to be honest, I've had some dogs that really love them and some that don't. So if you're unsure if Zooks is going to work for you and your dog, I would start with a small bag first and see if it works for you. You can do human food too. Chicken, hot dogs, cheese, those are all, great things to use as a reward, especially if on your leash walks, your dog gets distracted easily. They might do better with some of those higher powered rewards. Blue Buffalo also makes Blue Buffalo bites. I like those as well. They're small by Zooks. You generally want to use treats that are soft and chewy. The harder the treats are, usually the less fragrant they are and the less motivating they can be for the dog. So like, I don't know if you remember, Dad, when I used to train Shadow, I always used those dried milk bones. And I would make them small pieces. I would take a hammer, I was just in like elementary school and middle school. I would take a hammer and just pound them to make the pieces really small. But I had a lot of times when like my dog didn't really want to listen to me. And then as I started reading books about dog training, I started, mixing up the treats and changing them up so that Shadow wasn't getting the same treats all the time. So sometimes even changing those treats up can make a difference. The other thing with the hard treats is they break up and can get dusty, and then they can get stuck in the dog's throat and they start coughing. And if you're just kind of doing a whole bunch of commands one after the other and trying to reward them, then that can get a little bit annoying. So I kept the light off in the back here because I just wanted myself to be more prominent, but I'm noticing like with the lighting that I'm having, sometimes it's a little yellowish in color. So I apologize about that. Okay. Oh, Nicole is on here. Hi, Nicole. This is great to see you. So, Nicole, I would love to have you answer this question. Have you taught your dog to sit stay? And also, in what scenarios are you struggling with jumping the most? So when is your dog jumping the most that's the most frustrating to you? Is it on your leash walks? Is it when you have people over at your house? Is it on yourself? Let me know those scenarios, because if you do tell me that, Nicole, then I can definitely address that question or those scenarios in this call to help you best. Okay, let's go back to screen sharing here. Okay, so we are talking about the outdoor situation first. So if you are outside, your dog is on the leash to prevent him or her from jumping on other people, and then you're using the target or to sit stay to help with that. If you missed the beginning of the call, please don't fret. All you got to do is hit replay. Once the live is over, it is saved and you can rewatch it. So you basically want to tell people that want to pet your dog to do the following. So if you're on your walks and somebody comes up and says, hey, I want to pet your dog, or they start approaching you to pet your dog, the biggest thing that I would always say to these people is I would take advantage of that scenario and I would say, my dog is in training. Can you please help me? If they want to pet your dog, more than likely they really want to help you and they're interested in your dog. So you can usually enroll them into instruction. So your dog's on the leash. It makes it really easy to do this scenario. So you're going to have the person approach your dog. You're going to stand in one spot like a tree, and you will be seeing a video on this. So you're going to then have the person approach your dog. Of course, they're just naturally going to do that. And then you're going to tell them, you're going to say, if my dog sits, please pet my dog. If my dog jumps on you, please walk away. And if you're standing here like a tree, when that person goes to walk away, then your dog cannot follow them. So they are learning this scenario. If the person comes up and I sit, I get a pet from this person. If the person comes up to me and I jump on them, it means the removal of the person. So jumping means the person goes away. Sitting means the person is going to stay and I get attention. If your dog likes people, and please only do this if your dog likes people and wants to be pet. If you're dealing with aggression problems, then make sure you let me know, because we would be dealing with that a whole different way. Then your dog's going to really learn super fast. Again, person approaches and I jump means removal of that person. Person approaches and I sit means I get tons of attention from that person. So over time, your dog is going to learn to then sit more often when somebody comes up. And a lot of people will say, well, do I have to say a command? Do I have to ask my dog to sit, etc.? Not really, because the approach of the person becomes the command. They'll just learn that this certain behavior, the person approaching, which is the antecedent, means that I sit and then I get a reward. So they're going to literally have a behavior consequence going on. And that's how dogs learn. They don't learn by what we say. They learn by a behavior that they do and what happens before and after that behavior. All right, so let's see what Nicole says. So she said, my dog, Rosie, does do sit stay. Good. That's going to really help with the jumping. If I have a treat, if not, she doesn't. So, I mean, that's pretty typical. If a dog doesn't know how to stay that well, you do need to have a motivation to get them to stay. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you have treats on you in order to get your dog to learn. Just like you're not going to show up for work for free unless you actually like your job. If you like what you do, then you're getting rewarded in a different way. So like today, I'm doing a free event, right? I'm not getting paid, but I'm here because I like it, and I'm getting rewarded through comments from other people that watch this video later. I'm getting rewarded by helping others, from giving to the community. There are so many ways, right? If you're just expecting your dog to just sit and say because you said, and they're not getting a payoff, then they ain't going to do it. So you do need to have that payoff. Once they learn how to sit, stay, and they're staying like at a 70 to 80% response rate, that's when you can start fading out the treats. And a lot of people try to fade out those treats way too soon. Okay, and she says she jumps mostly with new guests and is jumping up with paws on the table at mealtime, so I put her away while we are eating. I wish she was trained to be with us at meals and not do jumping. Okay, so we're not going to talk a lot about the meal scenario in this call, but I do have a video on training place. And I definitely, if you're willing, Nicole, I would love for you to either comment on here or send me a private message or text message if you're more comfortable with that, with your email address, because I can then get you in on our email list where I send out free dog training tips, and there is one on there on training your dog to go to their bed, and that's how I would handle the begging at the table. And jumping on guests, great, we're going to cover that today shortly. So yeah, my dad asked, how do you tell when your dog shows fear or anxiety? So then you definitely would want to be able to read your dog's behavior. And if you are having trouble reading your dog's behavior, then I would definitely recommend that you look at the Facebook Live on last week. It actually is on kids safety with dogs. And a lot of it is on reading the dog's behavior in there. There's some really good pictures and explanations on reading behavior, and we'll go over that very much in depth in that Facebook Live. So definitely pop on and watch that. So you can learn more about that. And then as you do watch it, drop me some comments. You don't even have to watch the whole entire thing. You could skip to those points and drop me some comments on there, and I'll answer your questions. In general, if a dog is fearful, they're going to go smaller. So if I'm feeling scared, I'm going to get smaller. So a dog with ears go back, tail would go down, body posture would get in the arc kind of formation. Okay. So does anyone have people asking to pet their dogs on walks? I would love to know if when you're walking your dog, if people ask you, can I pet your dog? And please comment below. And if your answer is yes, then make sure you teach them that scenario, because it really is going to help your dog to jump less. So this is when I was in Salt Lake, and my dad took this video a while ago. So what you're going to see is exactly what I'm talking about. Is the person approaches, the dog sits, and the person pets the dog, or a click and treat happens. Either one of those things can happen, or both.
Okay, so let's let you get one in there. So
let's rewatch it so you can see that.
Okay, so let's let you get one in there so we get a good generalizing. Okay. So go ahead and walk slowly, and you can click and check that.
So again, notice how this person here is walking up. And when he walks up and this dog is sitting, this person then clicks and treats that. Okay, the owner. Walk up.
She's tired.
Dog sits.
But you're
owner clicks and treats.
Treats are coming.
We have it happen again.
Good, and then just wait there, Lindsay. Just wait.
So if your dog doesn't sit right away, it's a good idea to have the person just wait and see if they will. Most dogs will if they've been trained to sit, if you wait there long enough. And again, if they jump on the person, then that's the time for that person to then walk away and for you to stand here like a tree with your dog and not move towards them.
Good. So you want to wait for the sit. Okay. Okay, so you're approaching, I'm going to stand here, got the sit, click, and then treat. And then if she jumps, you're almost in it. But if she doesn't, if she's just standing there, I would just stand there and wait for the sit.
Okay, we're getting to the end of our
Okay, let's have you do some more.
Okay. So we don't have any jumping in that video, but again, it would look exactly the same, except that person would just walk away when the jumping would happen and they'd reapproach for that sit. So when your dog jumps less on the leash, then you could progress to off the leash. So if you're walking your dog on the leash and you practice these exercises you've done a lot with people approaching and having them sit and walking away when they're jumping and using the target to move them away from the person and doing the sit stay, and that's going really well. Like I did with Seiki for a long period of time. I think I did it for quite a few months, and then he did really well. And then I was like, okay, now you can be off the leash. So at this point, then when you would see a person, you're going to target your dog away from the person and have your dog sit stay. So that way that they're going to then generalize when they see a person to sit and stay even when they're off the leash. So we're not going to see a person in this video that's coming up to pet this dog, but you will see this owner doing target with the dog off the leash. And Nicole, when you rewatch this video, you'll get to learn about the target training. And it would be really beneficial for the jumping situation that you're talking about when people come over. Well. Okay, so here we go. Target. So that one, the hand was very close to the muzzle. Remember, the whole idea is to get the dog to touch their muzzle to your hand. So if you have your hand farther away, then your dog is going to move more. If you have your hand very close to the muzzle, then your dog's not going to move as much. So I think this next time the owner does targeting towards the left of her dog, and you're going to see the dog move a lot more. So if a person was standing to the owner's right over here, and we did a target, now we move the dog away from that person, preventing the dog from jumping on them. Then I could do a sit-stay, that I could move in between the person and the dog to get a really nice sit-stay going on and prevent that jumping from happening when the dog was off the leash. So again, notice how she can move this dog around with that targeting. So you can do so much with this command. You can move your dog to the left, to the right, away from a person that they want to jump on. You can move them away from a biker, away from a dog. It really is great to move them around. If someone comes to your house and they want to jump on a person that's coming over to your house, you could use targeting to move them away from that person and then get them into a sit-stay to prevent them from jumping on someone at your house as well. Okay. So I'm curious to know, after learning about some of the things that you can do with target, are you going to train your dog to target? And if you missed that section on it, that's okay. You can rewatch it and learn about it, and then ask yourself, is this a good thing to train my dog? And if it is, then train them. And remember, we had that video earlier that told you how to do the training to train target. Super easy to do. All right, I thought I had a comment there, but no. Okay. So definitely let me know if you're going to train your dog to do target now or in the replay so that I can help you best. So how do you handle jumping when guests come to your home? So Nicole, this is going to be really applicable for you. If your dog is on the leash, you can do the method that I just talked about. You can have the person approach your dog and wait. And if your dog sits, have that person pet him or her. You could also add the click and treat in there for the sitting. And then if your dog jumps, that person will walk away. But you got to remember, as that person's walking away, that you're not following that person with your dog. Otherwise, you're teaching your dog that if he jumps on that person, then he gets to follow that person. Not a really good consequence. That's going to reward the jumping. If the consequence is it's boring and we're standing here and the person leaves and I really wanted that person to come near me, then he's not going to be very happy that they left. And then when they reapproach, if he sits and he gets pet, then he's going to learn that the approaching causes him to sit or is a good reason to sit. And again, you don't have to say a command because again, the command is that person approaching. So more about how to handle when guests come to your home if your dog is off the leash. So the one above, we were talking about if your dog is on the leash. Now remember, you are always in control if your dog is on or off the leash. A lot of people don't think about that, but you are in control of that. If it's easier for you to handle your dog when they're on a leash when people come over, then don't open the door until your dog is on the leash first. Hang the leash up by your front door or the door that your guests come in. Put your dog on the leash before you open that door. And then you can literally, have them, if you open that door and your dog immediately jumps on that person, immediately have the guest walk away, reapproach when your dog sits, click and treat. So you want to immediately start with the training. So it's a good idea to talk to your guests first so that they know what's going on. So they're not wondering why you're immediately asking, them to walk away right after they open the door, right? Because they're going to be expecting, if you haven't talked to them first, they're going to be expecting you to say hi to them and hug them or whatever and immediately invite them in. But if you've talked to them first and they're enrolled into helping you with the jumping, then you would text them or talk to them on the phone first and say, hey, when you come to the door, I'm going to have my dog on the leash. As soon as I open that door, my dog's probably going to jump on you. Please walk away right away. and then approach again. And when my dog sits, pet him. If he jumps, walk away again and repeat it. If your dog doesn't sit that time, that's okay. They're not going to learn it in one session. Repeat it again the next time, right? But just make sure that when you let the person in, if your dog still hasn't sat, that you're walking away with your dog and not letting that person pet your dog when your dog is jumping on them. Now, if your dog is off the leash, so if your dog can handle being off the leash, or if you can handle your dog being off the leash, if it's not too stressful for you, then you're going to go ahead and do this method. You'll have your guest turn their back when the dog jumps on them, and then you'll have the guest only pet your dog when he sits, or you could do 4 on the floor or a down. You know, you could reward any 3 of those options. I personally usually try to reward the sit because the dog is less likely to jump when they're sitting. You can also click and treat when your dog sits. And you can also have the guest give your dog a treat when he or she sits. So my question to you right now, especially for Nicole, do you have people turn their back when your dog jumps on them? I would love to know. And we got some comments here. So Nicole says, I remove her from the room when she jumps. That's probably not going to do much of any learning at all, unless you have superb timing with that. So the first time she jumps on them, if she's immediately put in the room, and then brought back out, and then jumps on them, and then put in the room on the first jump, and then brought back out, and then jumps, and then the first jump she is immediately put in the room, you could train it that way. If that sounds like a lot of work, but you'd have to be very consistent and very repetitive. You can't just expect your dog to like jump on them 5 or 6 times in a row, and then you put the dog in the room and have the dog actually understand that's why they were put in the room. The jumping was what caused them to be put in the room, because there was 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 jump that happened before that nothing happened. In fact, they got rewarded for it in some way, more than likely. Even if the person didn't pet them, they probably gave them eye contact or said something to the dog. So I definitely would change that method up with what I just told you. And I would like to know if you, okay, so you haven't tried any training yet. So then you do want to definitely work on the leash scenario, like I suggested, or having the dog off leash and turning the back. And you got to figure out which one resonates better for you. I would probably try them both out and then figure out which one is going to be easier for you to be consistent with, because they both will work. But the whole idea is you got to be consistent with it, and you got to do it for quite a few weeks and months in order to get results. You can't just get results in 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Okay, and Nicole says you would like to try training. So great. I think this is really going to help make a difference for you, Nicole. So one of the biggest things that I'm stressing here is that treats can make a huge difference for jumping. And the reason why I'm really stressing this is because a lot of people will say, okay, my guest turns their back when my dog jumps on them, and my dog is still jumping on them. Like, well, did the dog get rewarded for doing the good behavior? Well, no. Okay, then there wasn't a strong communication for the dog to understand that sitting was a good idea. So petting can be the reward. A lot of times, adding a treat in there is even better and will train the behavior faster, because dogs are very food driven, and it can also calm the dog down. If the person pets the dog when they sit, some dogs will kind of go back up and start jumping again. So you might even find that you take away the petting and only do the click and treating, like I showed you in the video where the people were approaching. And you can do the click and treat for the sit, whether the dog is on or off the leash, using either one of those methods. Definitely make sure you make it easy to have the treats. You can have treats by your door for guests so they can easily treat the sit. So I would say probably one of the #1 reasons why people don't use the treats is because they haven't set themselves up for success with positioning of the treats. They have treats in their cupboard in their kitchen. They're not conveniently by the front door. So change that. Put treats by your front door, have them outside the front door or inside the front door so it's easy for you to get, so that you can reward the sitting, or train your guests to get the treats. You could put a sign on your door and again, have phone conversations, text conversations, whatever you need to do that says, when you come over, please do such and such when my dog jumps on you. So that's walking away if the dog's on the leash, or turning the back of the dog is sitting, and when my dog sits, please give him a treat. And if I had a sign up, I would make it really simple, because the more wordy it is, the less people are going to read it. I would have it say something like this: please give my dog a treat when he sits. And you could make it fun. You could even say something like, look how cute Seiki is when Seiki sits. Please only give a treat when he sits. You know, whatever you want to do, make it fun. If you're having a party, so a lot of you guys have Thanksgiving coming up. If your dog is going to be there and you want your dog out and about with all the guests, this is a perfect training moment. You can make so much headway in training in a gathering that lasts, 3 to 5 hours if everyone is being consistent. So if you feel like that your guests can be consistent, if you talk to them, enroll them into helping you, you will make faster progress. So prepare treat bags ahead of time for everyone. So get some Ziploc bags, or even make them fun if you want to, and put plenty of dog treats in them, or even your dog's dinner or breakfast, and encourage them to turn their backs for the jumping and give a treat only if your dog sits. If everyone does not give attention when your dog jumps and only gives attention when your dog sits, and 3 to 5 hours, your dog is going to learn a lot, because he's going to interact with a lot of people during that time. And if there's consistency going on, you're going to have a whole bunch of repetitions that are going to happen to help that dog learn, because you have to have tons and tons and tons of repetition and consistency for the behavior to start changing. Okay, I saw a comment here. Okay, so my dad asked, how much time can exist between a desirable behavior and a reward? So you want the treat to happen during the behavior that you like, unless you're using a clicker. If your dog jumps and then sits and then you give the treat when they are standing, then you rewarded the stand. If your dog jumps and then sits and then he gets a treat when he's jumping again, then you rewarded the jumping. They don't know English, so they learn very simple by the behavior they're doing in the moment and the consequence that they get during that behavior. So that's why putting them in the room for jumping isn't going to help unless they got put in the room the first time they jumped, right? And it was and then you repeated it over and over again. I'm going to let you out, let you jump again. And then you get put in the room, and then I'm going to let you out, and then you jump again, you get put in the room, and then I let you out, and you sat, and you got a treat. It's going to take a lot of repetition, right? So if you use a clicker, then, which is why I recommend the clicker, is because then you don't have to have the treat happen during the behavior. The click would happen during the behavior. So the dog jumps and then he sits and then you click and then you give the treat. You still don't want to give the treat while the dog is jumping, but if you gave the treat when the dog was in a stand and you clicked during the sit, then you actually rewarded the sitting. And the dog will learn that if you're very consistent with the clicker training. And you have about 2 to 3 seconds after your click to give the food reward. It's a really good question. My question is, will your dog be present at your Thanksgiving gathering? And if yes, can you have your guests treat the sit? I would love for you to comment below. Because this is a really good time. If you can get your family involved, supporting you and being consistent and enrolling them, you make way more headway if you have support than if you're trying to do it all on your own. So definitely, Nicole, I would love to know if your dog's going to be there at your Thanksgiving gathering and if you can have your guests treat the sit. And then what if your dog jumps on you? So you want to have the treats and clicker in your car or by your house door that you enter. When you enter, make sure you turn your back for the jumping, and then you're going to click and treat the sit. Make sure you repeat this and be consistent. So I'm going to show you a video on this. And we won't watch the whole thing. This one is actually a puppy that's biting and jumping. So I'm going to be talking about the biting in this. So I'll probably see if I can mute that and walk you through. This is actually a live Zoom call with a client of mine. So the dog is jumping on her. I'm instructing her to then stand up and turn her back. And then she is instructed to then quick and treat for that dog having 4 on the ground and for not jumping on her. So she's getting that out. So notice there was a huge delay in the, and getting the food, but the food still happened when the dog was standing. So the dog got rewarded for the standing, right? And if she had the click in there, it wouldn't matter. And at this point, we're telling her to give a whole bunch of rewards for not jumping. So you definitely want to keep rewarding the good behavior. So here we're petting the dog for standing and not jumping. And then we could also do some clicks and treats. We could wait for a sit if we wanted to. She's going to go ahead and click and treat here. Great.
Okay, and then do
Yeah,
it
there
again.
you go. So then you're going to go ahead and do it again. If she chooses to not bite you as you're petting her, you can give her another treat. So basically what you're doing is you're rewarding her for not biting, right? So whatever we reward is going to increase and frequency.
I know that puppy.
So pretty much we would change the biting to the jumping, and it's the same concept going on there, okay? And then I would love to know, does your dog jump on you? Please comment below and let me know. Okay, so Nicole says we're traveling without our dog for Thanksgiving. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. So then when you're back in town, have some people over and practice exactly what I taught you and let me know how it goes. So I would love to know right now, what did you learn today that you will apply to stop jumping? Please, please, please definitely take the time to comment, because if you write this out, it's going to get more into your long-term memory than if you're just thinking about it right now. You could even jot notes on a piece of paper, but definitely putting it in the comments will allow other people to see it. It will allow you to relook at it. It will allow you to think about it, to remember it, and to more likely follow through. And we definitely want to make sure that you follow through to get results, because you've got to do the work in order to change the behavior. Definitely watch the replay, especially if you missed some of the video today. No problem. It's easy to rewatch. If you're watching the replay, you can still comment and share this video with others so that you can help other people out that are struggling with jumping. Don't forget about our outdoor challenge. Our outdoor challenge is from November to January 1st. We want to support you with taking your dog out in the cold and as much as you can throughout the holidays. Get your dog outside, exercise your dog on and off the leash. And if this is a struggle for you, definitely dive into this outdoor challenge. And if you're having trouble with getting your dog to listen when they are outside, do not stress, because all of the Facebook Lives between now and January 1st are going to all be focused on how to get your dog to behave on and off the leash. And the person who attends the most Facebook Lives will receive a free webinar on loose leash walking. It's called Is Leash Walking a Drag? A Loose Leash Walking webinar. And many people have paid to attend to come to this, and they got really good results. So keep coming back on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to see the Facebook Lives. And the person that attends the most will receive this webinar. And I also want to talk about that you might be the perfect fit for our Dream Dog program. A lot of the videos that I showed you today are homework videos that some of my clients submitted. Some of them were live Zoom sessions that I had. Some of them were when I did training live as well, but I do want you to be aware that I can help you live through Zoom. And this program you're going to feel much peace and confidence when you are walking your dog both on and off the leash, because your dog will be reliably listening to your commands. We can help you no matter where you live, because all you need is the internet, a smartphone, a computer, or a tablet. What you receive in a Dream Dog program, your dog will learn quickly, because I won't be there personally distracting your dog. When I come to your house, I am an added variable. That added variable does make it harder for me to see your dog's true behavior. It also is a distraction to your dog, which does make it a little bit harder to have your dog learn. So when we have a screen in between us, I can easily show you immediately what to do, see your dog's true behavior, and help you dive into everything right away and empower your dog to listen to you. You will be held accountable to do your homework by submitting videos to me. So the video with that dog where the owner was doing the targeting with the dog on the leash, and then the video in the yard where the owner was doing the targeting off the leash, both of those were homework videos that these clients submitted to me. They worked with me live through Zoom, and they submitted those to me. And that way I can make sure you're doing your homework and give you really good feedback, because I can share those videos with you live on a Zoom call. Yep, so just like I said, we can screen share those videos. So to book a phone chat with me, you can go to this link right here. It is pinned in the comments, so it's at the top. You click on that link and you can schedule a free phone chat with me to see if we're a good fit for you. And if you also would love to learn more about the services that we offer, you can go to this link here as well, and that's also pinned in the comments below. So thank you so much for coming today. We are so happy that you attended, and I am looking forward to seeing you on more Facebook Lives. Or if you would like to learn more about our services, pop on there. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye, everybody.